4 वर्षभन्दा अलिकति बेसी भयो अब म फर्केको celebrating the 50th anniversary working with the company. So compared to them, I'm nothing. Policymakers like to copy and take inspiration, heavy inspiration from really big countries that the government needs to do, policy level, our leaders need to do. What are we doing as a country to reach where? A lot of the advanced countries are actually switching back to hybrid also. Nepal is the only country in the world where EV is cheaper than ICE. China alone has put around $215 billion into just EV infrastructure. Technically, हाम्रो नयाँ गाडीको market is bigger than Cambodia. Now, my question to the government is, what are you doing to incentivize downstream manufacturing in this country? नेपालको सबैभन्दा ठुलो problem अहिले चाहिँ is brain drain. Cambodia, the average age of the factory workers was around 22, and their skills, Toyota developed it themselves. Employment, growth hunsa, opportunity hunsa. I think हाम्रो opportunity हेर्दाखेरि, I mean, basically म 18 वर्षसम्म यतै थिएँ अनि त्यो बेला चाहिँ I always tell मान्छेलाई जहिले पनि भन्छु म कि I've been in business for 27 years because being born into a business family, definitely, you know, recognizing platform that I have is very important. For 4 वर्षको लागि I went to Boston. I was in Boston for 4 years studying undergrad. Studied business with a focus in entrepreneurship. And I think 4 वर्षभन्दा अलिकति बेसी भयो अब म फर्केको. And त्यो बेलासम्म चाहिँ I've been looking after the Toyota marketing team. भर्खरै हाम्रो 8th yearको 1 वर्षको anniversary पनि हामीले celebrate गरे. And that's been a new business. And it's been very exciting. अब left, right, center, I think धेरै opportunity हुन्छ नेपालमा. So trying to choose कुन business मा time दिने भनेर त्यो पनि त्यो process पनि धेरै नै हुन्छ. So I think opportunity हेर्दाखेरि they're endless. I'm excited about what's to come in the future पनि. I think 4 years is just a start. It's nothing comparing to हाम्रो यता एकदमै टोयोटामा भएको team members हरू पनि. We have 1-2 जना celebrating the 50th anniversary working with the company. So compared to them, I'm nothing. So I have a long way to go. And एकदमै excitement छ, I think, looking into my future. I think first things first, काम गर्नु कतै पनि सजिलो त हुँदैन. I think working to make a change is always difficult. No matter तपाईँ नेपालमा हुनुहुन्छ कि अमेरिका कि युरोप कि अस्ट्रेलिया कि जापान, wherever you are. If you're working towards improving society and the human race, I think it's very difficult. There are Nepalko challenges specifically, my challenges specifically, has been in policy level, understanding policy. You know, we're a different nation altogether. I feel like our policymakers like to copy and take inspiration, heavy inspiration from really big countries where we don't need to be doing that. Just an example, I think we'll get into this section. Recently, I just went to Cambodia, Toyota ko utako setup हेर्नलाई. उनीहरूको आफ्नै capabilities हरू एकदमै measure गरेर अगाडि बढिरहेछन्. Like what are they actually capable to do, and then policy is based on that. यता नेपालमा चाहिँ I feel like it's not exactly the same. One of the hardest challenges also is तपाईँले भन्नुभएको जस्तो युवा भएर there's a lot of people choosing to leave the country. It's amazing talent that I feel like उनीहरूको time चाहिँ यता दिए भने they would have been able to make a big impact. But I completely understand. They're not wrong to go out and look for better opportunity because yeta maybe the opportunity is not that good. And that's one aspect that the government needs to do, policy level, our leaders need to do. Aligati show hope for the next step, for the next 10 years. About Nepal, what are we doing as a country to reach where? So, two are major challenges that I've faced where a lot of people with potential are leaving. A lot of people with potential are still here. And I would say building हाम्रो Vaidya Energy team, but like I said, हाम्रो Vaidya Energy 8th yearको distributor, sole distributor चाहिँ it's been 1 year since they've been working here. तर now हाम्रो team चाहिँ 5 जनादेखि I think 36 सम्म पुगिसक्यो. So I think the growth is there and the team is growing very well and potential is endless. Automotive industry चाहिँ I think नेपालको one of the biggest industries नै हो when it comes to employment, revenue generation for government and even the personal people of Nepal. So I think यो recession आउँदाखेरि चाहिँ I think it started अलिकति पहिले autoमा especially for longer lasting legacy brands like Toyota. हाम्रो न्यू एनर्जीको चाहिँ धेरै नै फोकस भएर I think 2018 देखि the EV started coming in. तर EV को market share at that time was 3%. अब चाहिँ हेर्नुभयो भने it's almost 80% नै new car sales is going towards EV. So our first effect was felt in 2018. त्यो पछि कोभिड आएर ठ्याक्कै कोभिडको पछि चाहिँ the year that followed was very good for automotive sector. Everyone was buying cars because I think to pent up demand भएर सबैजनालाई personal mobility requirement पनि थियो, so it was good. अब यो recession को सन्दर्भमा चाहिँ I think when we try and understand यो economic recession, firstly यो सबै देशमा हुन्छ. We're not special in the sense that we have to understand recession को बेलामा हामीले के गर्नुपर्छ भनेर. I think there is a big change coming automotive where everyone's switching to EV. There are a lot of the advanced countries are actually switching back to hybrid also. They're realizing maybe it's not the most sustainable path forward. So maybe let's not get in this trap, we have to be cautious. But I would say the way Toyota and Ather has handled this is जब market down, we get to focus on, instead of focusing on customer, we can focus on ourselves. This is an example that I just recently gave. If I was a football player, अनि एकदमै ठुलो बाढी पर्यो भने if there's something environmentally wrong that we cannot control, that goes wrong, I can sit inside my house and complain about it, or I can work on my mental well-being, I can work on my physical, I can go to the gym, I can do something in my own time and focus on myself so that after your situation goeपछि I'm ready to tackle and move forward on a very, very fast manner compared to anyone else also. So हाम्रो focus within Voith has been that. Recently we've been working on एकदमै forward-thinking development because हामीलाई I think हाम्रो employees and the team members are the most important thing for us as an organization because if they're good, we're all good. So we're working on alikati training based on design thinking about AI कसरी use गर्न सकिन्छन् भनेर हाम्रो धेरै training भइरहेको छ हाम्रो organization भित्र. This is why, because this is where the world is going and this is where हाम्रो level also needs to be before we get left behind. So यसो खाली I think I don't like to look at it as a negative way. I look at it as an opportunity. Yस्तो खाली recession it gives us an opportunity to really work on ourselves. So हाम्रो focus basically त्यही भइरहेको छ. We were always the people's car up until recently. Recently अब taxहरूले गरेर like looking in the carको rate in Nepal, import tax हेर्दाखेरि, we have become an expensive car. A lot of people ask us why is the car so expensive. Easiest to explain by showing government code tax. Our Land Cruiser, for example, something that costs $100,000 in America costs $500,000 here. And that's mostly just the tax. 370% ne banum is where the tax bracket of the Land Cruiser falls. That's where most of the MRP to split gare bhane it's going there. So looking at policy, it has gone down. We've adapted very well, I would say, over the last couple of decades, how Toyota has adapted to become the leading luxury brand here. But everywhere in the world, people see Toyota as a people's brand. But in Nepal, we're a luxury brand. The product is one part of it, but then customer service and how we treat our customers and customer ko लागि के गर्छौं भनेर त्यो पनि एकदमै महत्त्वपूर्ण कुरा हो. I think हाम्रो UTS ले एकदमै राम्रो कुरा गर्छ and we're dominating the luxury market now. So 50%, in between 50 and 60% is where we are in market share in the luxury segment. Looking beyond that, I think one time that we are not being able to convince our government policymakers or enough is hybrid. I feel like the general public don't know enough about hybrid and there's no reason to learn about hybrid early because the tax benefits are nani. if something's still 2 crores and above because of the tax, people will still rather look at the EV because the tax is so low. So we have been trying to work with the government on many, many levels to educate everyone throughout the system to say, okay, hybrid is a way that you can reduce your fuel imports, you can increase range, infrastructure cost pani aundaina, but you're still taking a stepping stone rather than jumping. So त्यो आधारमा चाहिँ हामीले अलिकति अहिले पनि धेरै काम गरिरहेको छौँ टोयोटाको सन्दर्भमा. Here, when you look at it, it's actually sustaining. Throughout COVID, we didn't. अब धेरै कम्पनीहरूले they had to cut down उनीहरूको manpower, infrastructure, सबै कति धेरै. टोयोटाको सन्दर्भमा हेर्नुभयो भने we have been healthy in, let's say, a positive balance sheet for the last couple of years, and our again focus is people. We haven't fired anyone because of our financial hardship. COVID ko belama, we paid everyone their full salary also. We wanted people to know that they are important, we are there for them in a time of uncertainty. So, looking at it from the inside, by the way, I think there's a lot of assumptions that everyone can make, but looking at it from the inside, we are trying to keep morale high. Obviously, daily, what you earn is a very important aspect of what it is, and हामीले अलिकति pivot पनि गरिरहेका छौँ to see where can we go instead of relying on new car sales. What can we do to actually create new revenue streams in Nepal? So त्यो पनि त्यसको काम पनि धेरै aggressively नै गइरहेछ अगाडि. Just for example, if I can ask you only, do you feel like हामीले second-hand car market like trust गर्न सकिन्छ as a buyer? Absolutely, absolutely. But I feel like one fundamental thing that's missing is transparency in हाम्रो second-hand market. नेपालको पुरै market हेर्दाखेरि. That's one aspect that we are trying to tackle as a company to try and help the layman consumer. If they cannot buy Toyota, we want them to be able to buy any other car, but they need to know that they're getting a good car. मेरो आफ्नै example, I'm a vintage car enthusiast. मैले धेरैचोटि हाम्रो बजारमा गएर धेरै online platformहरुमा गएर I've been trying to purchase like old good rare cars. So many times अब मान्छेले सबै ठीक छ भन्छन् तर गएर हेर्दाखेरि there's not too much trust. It's not actually as rosy of a picture that they paint. So a couple of things we're working there. For example, even when it comes to mobility, people don't have to own a car to drive a car. Rental is super small here and it's priced high, the price of cars are very high. So another thing we're trying to tackle is trying to say, how can someone own a car without paying very, very high prices? So we're working on a platform in the tech world also to try and tackle a lot of the issues and revenue sources that are being depleted on one side maybe. And we're trying to create more opportunity in the country. EV first one will be coming around June. I think I'm not allowed to share fully what exactly the model is, specs. June, July, first one. I think there's also news out there. This came last week, so if you want to search, I'm not allowed to say, you can search. I can send you the link, but it's a EV car in a B segment that's coming in. It's SUV. Price discussion, generally, just to let you know, Toyota, it happens 1 month before launch. So I have no idea. Even general, we're hoping that it will be the cheapest car in our portfolio because of the taxes. So I think all we can do is hope and wait and see. As soon as the information comes, I'll definitely share with you. Not a problem. Okay. EV company, what we're trying to do is tackle this entire industry a little different. I mean, like, naya industry 60 years in cars, but two-wheelers we've never worked before. We used to work with Kawasaki 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Boale ल्याउनु हुन्थ्यो Kawasaki. We haven't worked with two-wheelers very much. So, Ather's philosophy in India, they always say if we knew about the industry, we wouldn't have ever tried tackling the industry. But now you look at it, last month, October, they sold 20,000 units in a month in India. 2 lakh units. It's a very large number. Where India, they're being considered as one of the top players in the market. Similarly here, we wanted to approach the whole market differently. we want to be bringing the consumer new products, but new product bhanda pani new ways of, let's say, marketing, new ways of financing, new ways of leasing, new ways of owning the scooter as well. हामी चाहिँ एकदमै consumer centric आधारमा बढिरहेछौँ हामी. So whatever the people want, we're implementing. तपाईँको question about infrastructure, for example. हाम्रो सबै charging station, I think right now we have installed around 14 across Nepal. So I think यता चाहिँ we have the most. पोखरामा 2टा, चितवनमा 2टा. अहिले, as we speak, हाम्रो charging infrastructure team is connecting Kathmandu to Pokhara to Chitwan. So 6 more charges are being added there. And त्यो चाहिँ हाम्रो community request we're doing. All of our locations are being decided. We ask the community first, does it make sense to put it here? Same about this year, we're planning to increase हाम्रो service center and touch points. Where, example, people can go test ride and also get good service, and they don't have to travel iti tara. अहिले चाहिँ हाम्रो काठमाडौँ भित्र we have 2 service centers, one in Tinkhune, one in Bhaktapur. We see a huge hole in the south side, north side, west side of Kathmandu. So we'll have 4 new locations within this year. Within the next couple of months, यो fiscal year भित्र is our target to open all of these new touch points. The reason is, again, people need to trust us. We're there for not just अहिले को लागि बेच्नलाई. We're here to make your whole experience of your ownership correct and good. We want to add value. For example, we want to work on the very different marketing concepts where we bring Nepalko sabhaibhanda top thinkers and have them speak to our community. And only our community, no one else. We want to make sure that हाम्रो community grows, and hopefully we have them graduate into cars, SUVs, bigger cars, Toyota, and even hopefully private jets, hopefully soon. Product ko problem haina. I think 2 वर्ष अगाडि actually it was a little bit of a product marketing issue. There was 86 different brands importing 2-wheelers into Nepal. And धेरै चाहिँ were bringing एउटा single consignment, बिक्री गरेपछि closing shop, no service center, nothing. So मान्छेको trust level नै एकदमै कम भयो. And this is mostly coming from China. अब चाहिँ I think based on this yearको statistics, we are at around 40 brands. 2 वर्षमा already half brand नै भइसक्यो. I think it's going to further reduce. किनकि मान्छेको expectation पनि बढिरहेछ, saying I need after sales service. So for the brands that don't put in this infrastructure, they won't buy. That's one aspect. So to मान्छेको mentality like turn गर्न, even right now, धेरै मान्छेलाई एथरको बारेमा थाहा छैन. First question they ask is Chinese. And do you have service station? Do you have this? Do you have that? त्यसको लागि चाहिँ we are working very aggressively to make sure spare parts you have at all times, service you have at all times. We're trying to think of many different things also. So I think when we look at Gadi, the 2-wheeler situation, Gadi चाहिँ I think the difference between tax 370% on ICE vehicles maximum and starting at 50% for EV. It's such a big gap that तपाईँको MRP मै एकदमै change पर्छ कि. Nepal is the only country in the world where EV is cheaper than ICE. One of the only countries in the world. And त्यो mentality ले हेर्दाखेरि बाहिर गयो भने EV cars are more expensive to produce. They're very expensive. Infrastructure पनि एकदमै महँगो छ. China alone has put around $215 billion into just EV infrastructure. But for example, what we have to try and gauge is by reducing ICE tax and revenue source, who's going to fund the infrastructure now for Nepal if it's already 80%? That's why I think policy level, there's a disconnect between 2-wheelers and 4-wheelers. Even now that we speak about, the most selling scooter is Dio. The most expensive Dio is 320,000 maybe. Our entry level model is 350,000. So त्यहाँ पनि अलिकति disconnect छ. We're coming closer and closer to competing on price पनि. Product हेर्दाखेरि I always tell people it's like going from Nokia to iPhone. There's a stark difference, day and night difference between the products itself and what Ather is doing. They're at the forefront of development. So I think to trust build गर्नुपर्ने कुरा चाहिँ main कुरा नै हो. EV brands that are coming, if they have service stations and they have the same infrastructure that they have with the legacy brands, then people will start trusting more. And that's what we're trying to do ita Nepalma. And then second would be, even when it comes to policy, if there's a way to make it cheaper, it'd be good. If not, production side ma pani, we know that batteries are going to get cheaper in the next couple of years, so we know that we're going to be more competitive in the market. For example, let's say we only have 450 series Honey. That's the only thing that we're selling in Nepal at the moment. In India, they already have the Rista. Rista is cheaper than the 450. So hopefully we're seeing that our price will be very close to matching the legacy brands now coming in. I think, I think alikati patient हुनुपर्छ हामी किन global standard may EV is more expensive than ICE अहिलेसम्म तर it's reaching a point of intersect where it will be around the same price soon हैन I think assembly we can do a lot. Just recently मैले अघि पनि भनेको थियो when I went to Cambodia we saw that their market new car market was around 15,000 new units a year. Nepal last year was 18,000 units. Technically, हाम्रो नयाँ गाडीको market is bigger than Cambodia. Toyota has set up a manufacturing plant there, assembly plant there, where there's very little automation. And what it's doing is they recognize that Thailand data. To compete with Thailand, to make it cheaper than Thailand is almost impossible. So what they've done is value add ko sandharma hernu bhayo bhane they have 4 different tax brackets, SKD, CKD, and they have 2 more underneath. And this much they have very realistic goals. Hamro Nepalma assembly garnalai within 5 years we need 30% value add. Now my question to the government is, if you have to make a Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, Bajaj ko standard ko parts, what are you doing to incentivize downstream manufacturing in this country? Aile. Firstly, there's no benefit that the government's giving. So it's a very big risk that the business person would have to take for a small number. We have to recognize that Nepal ko sabai bhanda thulo problem aile chai is brain drain. Manche chhodira chan. Kinki opportunity chaina to grow. Why are they leaving? So we have to keep people here. Cambodia, the average age of the factory workers was around 22, and their skills, Toyota developed it themselves. Okay? So, like for example, the masses that are leaving are the people that we will require here. So maybe they'll think twice before leaving, and at least hamro afne desma alikati employment growth huncha, opportunity huncha. I think when it comes to assembly, we're very aggressively researching into this, but then looking at policy, it's not sustainable. Value add bhanda pani, I think there's a lot of other things that the government could do to help with assembly. A lot of these new companies are actually making very low cost factories where it's not going to be titi dere capital investment pani. If we try to make a fully automated plant in Nepal, it makes no sense. It's not going to be viable. But something that's a little bit more labor intensive we can do. And we should focus on that because that's what we need as a country as a whole. Absolutely. We've partnered with one of the biggest top 5 companies in China for charging stations. So we'll be installing that starting very soon across Nepal. Nepal's requirement it's very similar to Laos. We did a comparison case study. The EV penetration ekdamai high cha, तर fast charger infrastructure requirement ali kamai cha. Because most people charge at home. I think we still want to develop the charging network very aggressively. Other than that, hamro EV servicing ko training, hamro manpower ko, we already started. We have very important experts in our company who work as hamro head technicians and everything here, who have already gotten all the training, and now they're training our entire manforce across Nepal. So hamro manpower is already being trained very aggressively on how to deal with EV. Next is Aile, what I'm alikati worried about, what we learned is that EV gaadiharu, to upgrade hamro mechanic to teach them how to work on an EV car is completely different set of skills. Okay? I'm worried about alikati the second channel workshops. You can't just suddenly stop just because you want to go EV. So what we are working on is we're working on a CTBT training course. We're going to train everybody. Anyone can come take our training and how to work on EV. Because पहिला चाहिँ the owner of the car needs that. Then these businesses, who are the platform of our automotive industry pani, mostly people go there only, second-hand workshop, because maybe they don't, want to pay or something. There's always a reason they go there. We can't leave them behind. We have to take them forward with us. So, Toyota, we're working quite aggressively with Toyota to create a curriculum to develop sabaijanako skill as a country so that no one gets left behind. So, to mismatch pani hunदैन नि supplier and demand ko. Same with hybrid. Hybrid training we've already started quite aggressively. For the last 3 years, we've been doing trainings with many NGOs, INGOs, and second channel workshops or how to deal with hybrid. Because when you work with EV, the tools that dun sansani, we need to have it different. You're working with extremely risky platforms if you don't have the correct tools. If you have the correct tools, very safe. The two education pani got second hand to a second channel workshop. So we're actually educating a lot of them, saying like, okay, for EV cars, first you have to turn out the battery, and the way you do it is very different. And these are the kind of parts that you need. So Toyota is at our forefront of focus pani. And leaving that aside pani, we're trying to see how can we use and develop our mobility sector within Nepal through tech. Because tech is our one area where maybe in Nepal trial garera, we can take it outside also. There's no barriers to see which company can succeed well in IT. Ab eta ramri chale bhane we can take it to India. Maybe they don't have it yet, and vice versa. So we're focusing a lot on IT, new energy development, and even training hamro workforce. And not just hamro Toyota Aether ko matra haina, everything else also. If I'm not aiming for the best, then I'm not doing the right thing. So Aether ko lagi, we have a very systematic, mapped out action plan for the next 5 years. We want to be one of the leading two-wheeler companies in the industry itself. We want to be a legacy brand and take on the legacy brands also. Not just be number one in EV, but EV overall. त्यसको लागि, we'll need the help of policy, we'll need the help of the people. So we know that it's not fully in our hands matre. We're trying to educate the market about the importance of EV when it comes to the entry-level mobility solution, which is bikes, is two-wheelers. It's the mobility solution choice for the masses. त्यहाँ पनि एकदमै लागिरहेछ हामी. I think the main thing and हामीले एकदमै focus गरेको मैले भनि पनि सके is working on developing हाम्रो manpower and developing to be the next leaders of the industry. मैले जहिले पनि यो example दिन्छु हजुरबाको बेलामा a lot of people who worked under him have led a lot of automotive industries and companies in Nepal. My goal is to create manpower within the country that leads the next generation of mobility in Nepal also. Make them ready to take the challenge and make them lead anyone. They could be under our umbrella of companies. Even if they leave, it's okay. I'll be happy if they're growing somewhere within Nepal. धेरै आइडियाहरू छन् मैले भनिसके जस्तो. So infrastructure, new energy, IT ma. So there's a lot of avenues that we're not just exploring, but we've already started in also. Hopefully we'll hear about them soon, but the whole point is to make it perfect and then take to market.
सर्वाधिक लोकप्रिय सावित्री कञ्चनजङ्घा अगरबत्ती
ग्लोबल आईएमए बैंक सबैका लागि बैंक